Well, good afternoon, everyone. You're watching Capitol Beat live from the State House, which is super exciting. This is the first inaugural Capitol Beat in 2026 here at the State House. And with me, I have, everyone knows, Mike Tagliavia, representative of Orange 1. And then, of course, we've got Rob North of Addison 3. Addison
the
3,
Vergennes area.
The Vergennes area. And of course, Michael Boutin at Berry City. And I'm on Commerce and Economic Development. And the two of you are
Environment.
on Environment.
Also environment.
Yes.
Yes, exciting. I'm not going to lie. I would choose Commerce and Economic Development over what you guys got.
I don't know. Actually, I can't say that I would. I like the committee I'm on. I think it's difficult at times, but I like the committee. It concerns the main reason why I chose Vermont. It's a beautiful state. I love the outdoors. So the Environment Committee to me is a perfect fit. So I know it's not easy, and then I know a lot of people say, I'm thankful you're on it and not me. Oh, that's fine. So I guess nobody will be after my seat very quickly anyway, very soon.
I do want to, since this is our inaugural, video, live stream here, can you just let us know if you can hear us well, if there's someone that needs to adjust their mic, such as Mr. Tagliavia, who has it facing off this way. So if it's a problem, just let us know. I'll see it in the chats. All right, so let's talk about some legislation that's going through. I know that you guys have some really exciting legislation. And in general, there's lots of stuff that's going through our system.
Yeah.
Who wants to jump right in? And
I can if you want.
Sure.
The thing that strikes me is it's same stuff, different session. That's the thing that bothers me. To say it as politely and as without too much color. We have affordability. We have healthcare that we need to be dealing with. We have public safety to be dealing with, among many other things, housing, and there are still certain agenda items from the majority that don't seem to reflect the concerns of the Vermont voters. So that's what sticks out for me. I know we have got some really good bills that have come out that Republicans have introduced that don't right now seem to be getting much attention. That bothers me. I mean, with what are we, 3 weeks in? Mm-hmm. 3 complete weeks?
3 weeks.
Crossovers in March. It seems like March is pretty far away, but when it comes to legislation and how slow things move, sometimes when you need to get a bill from here to the Senate and then back, if possible, to what do they say? To what the heck's the legislative term? To make them both match, to resolve differences.
Senate and House bills versions.
Right. So reconciliation, is that the word? But yeah, we are on a time constraint. And I don't know about the two of you, but I would love to see us out of here
all time
by May 1. Actually,
Ooh,
ideally,
nice.
I'd love to see April 15th if you want it. If we're
I'm
being honest.
perfectly fine with that as well.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen.
And I think the taxpayer, the people who would be most happy would be the taxpayers and you know, the hardworking Vermonters who want to see us show a little bit of I don't know, restraint when it comes to regulation and fiscal conservatism. You know, how many of your constituents have had to tighten their belts and they don't see us tightening our belts up here when it comes to programs and expenses and things like that?
Yeah. Well, I think Governor Scott made it very clear in his budget address that hey, you're going to have to do something because it's not looking good.
Yeah.
And especially when it comes to education, which, you know, I think we were all on board with. Were you guys all on board? Did you guys support
No,
73?
I voted no on 73,
voted no?
but yes to send it to the governor because I think the only way we're here is because 73 got sent to the governor, and we were forced to have this conversation, this debate. If it had been voted down, we would have been I think in a much worse position. We've got a lot of good ideas on the table. It's a matter of finding that final solution that everybody's going to be happy with and that we can afford.
Yeah. Yeah, I think keeping Act 73 on the rails, as so to say, is really important. Act 73, we passed it last year, but it was really just a framework. It didn't contain all of the specifications and the details of exactly how to implement the complete education reform and property tax reform that was, I'll just say, outlined in Act 73. And so unfortunately, that leaves a lot of what you might think of as off-ramps for the naysayers to derail the whole thing. So one of the bills that I really like, and many of us are supporting, that was put in by Representative Feltus, Marty Feltus, proposes to keep the foundation formula even if everything else goes off the rails, because the foundation formula is the key golden nugget within Act 73. So
and put that in effect this year.
Yeah, and put it in effect as soon as possible.
And I think, the Act 73 did have class sizes, which does make a difference. And we would need to have that, although with the foundation formula, it will automatically, make you deal with any class sizes, right? Because there are, schools within Vermont that have like extremely low class sizes.
Yeah.
I think there was one that he was talking about that had 3 students in one class and one grade.
Yeah.
And that's just not sustainable on any type of level.
Yeah, and I don't want to downplay some of the concerns with Act 73. There are very real concerns with the current Act 73 and the way it's written. For example, the class sizes could easily be used as a cudgel to close small schools, and I do not want that. I do not support that at all.
Neither do I, and neither do most of the people in my district. They don't support that.
And I think one of the big confusing factors in Act 73 is the emphasis it has on redistricting. And I think a lot of people confuse larger districts with fewer schools. I think they equate the two, and that's not necessarily the case. A district is just a boundary around a number of schools that may already exist to have a single set of administration govern all of those schools, rather than a single set of administration governing every single individual school. So it's just a way to spread out administration a little bit more to reduce the administration costs, which is the purpose of that. But again, that it's not well understood, and nor is it mandated. Any particular redistricting mandated. It's not mandated in Act 73. So there's a lot of discussion. That's another one of those off ramps, another one of those paths where a lot more discussion needs to occur.
Yeah. We had Capitol Police coming up through. He saw the camera and he was like, "Nope, I'm out."
We could interview Officer Tremblay.
Yeah, we could. Yeah. I know one of the things that, like, specifically today we had a vote on immunizations 545.
Yes.
And I know there was some conflict. I voted in favor, and I believe both of you voted no on it.
We voted no. Yeah, it was roll call voted.
Yep.
We voted no. I voted no. Representative North gave a much more eloquent explanation, but he echoes my feelings. But in short, it did not, in my estimation, give enough informed consent. That's what it was. The bill is fine. It just didn't include the informed consent that I believe needed to be included in that to make it a much better bill.
Right.
And that's one of the things that we've come across. We see stuff go out of committee that just needs a little bit more committee time, a little bit more discussion. To have them come out of committee and get sent to the Senate in better shape.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, there was one member of that committee for which that bill came out that did dissent as it came out of committee. I think
Yeah.
it was 10 to 1.
yes,
10 to
correct.
1, coming out. And they should have listened to him a little bit more because he did have a good idea, Todd. Representative Nielsen, I thought, had a very good idea.
They missed an opportunity.
He came to several of us after that came out of committee, so we had very little time to try to put an amendment together. We did. Representative Burt got a really good amendment put together, I think. We got it through all the Ledge Council processes and got it and sat it. He had a very small amount of time to sit with that the morning that the bill was coming for vote, to sit with the committee and try to get it through, and couldn't get enough traction within the committee in that 10-minute brief time that he had.
Yeah.
To explain it, because it's very nuanced. The amendment is very nuanced, as Representative Tagliavia was pointing out. We're happy with the recommended list of vaccinations.
Yep.
Fine. Happy with having the limited liability for all the healthcare providers. Fine. That's all good. Where the concern comes in is, just as Representative Tagliavia pointed out, the umbrella of informed consent doesn't cover everything that we'd like to see. It
Right.
covers requiring to let the patient know what the possible side effects are of the vaccination, but it doesn't say anything about the fact that, you know what, you don't have any legal recourse because of all the legal immunities that are built into the system. If something does go wrong, liability is entirely on you, Mr. Patient, or Mr. or Mrs. Patient.
Yeah, I read that amendment and I was like, oh, that sounds pretty good. I mean, it looked pretty good and I was perfectly fine with it. I heard the committee voted no, correct? The majority of the committee?
Right.
Yeah.
Was it a Republican Democrat split?
No, it wasn't.
No,
it wasn't. But that's one of the reasons why I hope when the Senate gets this, that they will see what happened with the amendment process and give it more discussion in their committee. So in a perfect world, we'd see that bill come back with that amendment as part of the bill, and then I'll be happy to vote for it.
And we still have
Without
opportunity.
question.
We still have
Yes.
opportunity to get it in the Senate. As it goes to the
Right.
Senate, we'll forward that amendment on.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I saw that amendment. I'm like, looks pretty good. I was trying to figure out because I'd heard a rumor that we were going to roll call it, and I like turned around to the Dems behind me. I'm like, why are we roll calling this?
Yeah.
It was to me, I didn't quite understand it, and so anyway, it was roll call, but
I actually appreciated the fact that they roll called it, because it gave me a chance to stand up and speak my piece about the amendment that we didn't, because we never got to discuss the amendment because it didn't even make it through committee. So I actually appreciated the roll calling so we could explain our vote.
That's true. That makes sense.
And again, the way Mike and I voted was specifically to protect the people. It's to protect the people with that notification of their limited liability, of their their entire liability, of the limited liability of all the healthcare providers. Not that we disagree with the liability, but we just want people to be informed so they can consent to the fact that they're taking on the liability. That's it. So it's just a matter of consumer protection, pure and simple consumer protection.
If the bill was about a vaccine and protecting against illness, why not? Like Rob said, consumer protection as well.
And it was there was like a protracted conversation about, does it affect, school vaccanations and immunizations?
Requirements. Yes.
Correct. And it did not, which was, that was good for folks to know.
Right.
Yeah, definitely good to know.
So what have you guys been working on in your committee?
Shall I read the weekly report that Mike and I were just waiting on?
Yeah, go for it.
Well, we've got, what is it? H276, a wildlands bill, which is, in a nutshell, and correct me if I'm wrong, Rob, but it's a bill that would permanently preserve I think it's targeted towards state lands
Yes.
right
Yes,
now,
entirely towards state land.
towards state lands, but permanently preserved as old growth forests. So it would drastically reduce, with a couple of very narrow exceptions, any activity. It would not allow for what we know as working lands. If it's considered wild lands, there would be no harvesting of trees and stuff like that. So I'm not a fan. I know we today just had a great presentation from Forest Parks and Rec, and it sounds like they have a really good plan with a lot of good points and criteria that they use for managing state lands, including working lands, that uh, trees, harvesting and stuff of trees on state lands. So I think the idea is a good idea. I just don't think right here, right now, is the time and place for it.
Yeah.
So that's one of them. I mean, we've got one of the things I did actually like was a PRO. Let's see, producer responsibility organization for tires. So I'm sure you've seen, we find these tires being deposited or dumped all along our less traveled roads. And the presentation we got this week about a plan to deal with, what was it called? Legacy tires?
Yeah, legacy tire piles.
Piles.
Huge
To
mountains
try
of
to,
old tires, which I'm
to
sure you're
deal
aware
with
of.
these.
Oh,
yes. So
We have one on the Barry Montpelier Road. I
There you
believe.
go.
This actually shows some promise. I think it might actually go a long way to solving the problem that we have. So
Yeah.
it's-
Yeah, there are a lot of bills that we discuss in the Environment Committee that have very little benefit to the working Vermonter in terms of helping the key things that most Vermonters are really complaining about:
Yeah.
affordability and public safety. Now, granted, those aren't necessarily the prime things that we would talk about in Environment Committee,
right.
but this is one. This is one that actually solves an actual problem that Vermonters are actually having, which is these. Nobody can claim to be a fisherman in Vermont and have never caught a tire, right? I mean, they're freaking everywhere,
Right.
So, there, I think Vermont has a couple of or several what's called extended producer responsibility programs, like for batteries and for paint and for toxic chemicals. If you buy a can of paint, then the hardware store has to take that paint can, that empty paint can or partially empty paint can,
It's like
back.
the bottle.
Very similar to a bottle
Similar
bill.
to the bottle bill.
So we're creating that same type of thing, or trying to now, with a bill for tires.
We're looking at it,
automotive
yeah.
tires. And so what happens right now is when you take your tires back, you get your tires changed out, you get your old tires, you have to pay $5 a tire, $6 a tire, $7 a tire for them to take your old tire. This would eliminate that and make it either free or maybe even get $1 back, almost like a deposit system for your old tires. And the dollar back, that may be a temporary thing to encourage cleanup of these big old piles. People would be happy to go dig a tire out of the creek to get $1 for it, probably. So,
I wonder how that bill would affect like Wheels for Warmth. So,
well, that was a question that I brought up. So it would not affect. It wouldn't
I think it
be a
would
deterrent
be a positive.
to resales of tires. So I don't think it would be a problem, because tire resellers, it was brought up in the bill, and I can't remember all the wording, but that was one of the sections that was discussed. So I don't think it would be a problem for that.
So I wonder though, now that I'm thinking about the Wheels for Warmth, because they do get rid of some
Right.
Yes.
some tires.
Could be an additional. Well,
So it
depending
could
on how
be
we
an additional
It could be.
on the.
Yes.
I'm thinking it would be a benefit, because just like people donate their returnables to the Boy Scouts or whoever,
Right.
and they get the 5 cents a can, people could just donate their tires. Fine, I got $1 a tire. I'll take my old tires and give it to Wheels for Warmth.
Yeah.
And they get the $1 per tire then, or they can sell the tires if they're still any good.
Right.
So I think it's a positive.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. We'll have to get more information as it starts coming out.
It's Bill 204, H204, if you're
Yes,
interested in following it.
H204. Now, just give for a little more information for me, the wheels for warmth, those tires are all checked to be sure they're
Correct.
roadworthy. So
Correct.
depending on how this bill comes out, if it does come out, it could actually be beneficial to the wheels for warmth, especially in the beginning of the program to try to get it jump started. Um, because then even those tires that wouldn't be able to get mounted on a vehicle and sent down the road, there may actually be a value to them for the program. I never even thought about that. Never even thought about that.
So I'm gonna drop I'm gonna drop in the chat um, the link to Bill H204 for
Okay.
folks.
Sure.
Not to do now, do it after the show. What other stuff do you guys got going on?
Let's see, specifically within our committee. Have to go back and
Well, you're-
H632, that's miscellaneous.
that's a miscellaneous bill. So that's usually just like a bunch of technical cleanups. So I don't know how interesting that would be. to
Yeah.
most
Probably
people.
not.
Not too much.
I know our committee's working on data privacy, which,
Okay.
oh my word. We, you know, and I'm like super interested in data privacy, but I also look at our data as currency. So we sell our data for free
Mm.
product, right? Like when you have all three of us have smartphones, and when we click on the app that we want to use, we're selling our data for use of that free app. So that's how I look at it. But I also kind of like the idea that I can say, hey, you know, I don't want you to have my data. And so we're working on a bill that does a delete. It would be set up through I believe the Secretary of State's office. You would go on, it's similar to the no call list, and it would delete your data. The concern that I have is the impact on the financial industry, insurance companies, banking companies. They all use those data points for whatever reason, and we have to make sure that whatever bill we pass out is not going to have a negative impact on those companies. So, for example, if a company uses the data to underwrite your insurance policy for your car and they can't access the data, then they have to do a manual underwriting, which may not change your rate, but it will change the overall rate. So everybody,
to the whole process.
correct. So I'm very cognitive that needs to be dealt with.
What's the primary problem that you're trying to solve with that bill?
Well, I mean, I'm not trying to solve, but
Oh, okay, no, that's your committee.
although
So
I
that's
think I
the
did
author.
sign off on that one. The idea is having the ability to say no, right? I don't want my data to be, you know, passed around like, you know,
Yeah.
it's I don't, you know, if somebody doesn't want their data out there, then I get it, right? You shouldn't have to be forced to have your data floating around, especially when it's floating on these sites where you
Dark
could
web.
go on, get the data, and then, you know, somebody could do something nefarious, right?
Yes.
We're all public officials. Our information is out there. But for the average individual that, you know, doesn't want, let's say a person is, you know, kind of doesn't want their ex to know where they are.
hmm
You can go on to these, you know, front facing websites and grab that information, and somebody could do something nefarious with it.
Here's my concern. You said something about, well, when you get an app, in return for that free app, you get, you give your data. But I know on my phone I have some apps that are free, and because they're free,
You're selling. It's not free.
I get ads on there, and
Yep.
if I want to pay, then I don't get ads. My thing is, I'm sure in some point in our lives, all of us have worn something that's got a logo on it. Okay.
Yep.
Well, to me, my data is like a logo, and if you want me to you want my endorsement, then that comes with a price. And there are some of these companies that are making billions of dollars in profit. So if they want my data, the idea that they might offer me something for it other than that use, because they're selling, advertising on a lot of these apps. I kind of like the idea of being able to shield some or all of my data.
Yeah, absolutely. As long as it protects those legitimate financial transactions behind the scenes that
Yeah.
happen every single day that you don't know about, but make your life so much easier and so much cheaper. That's what we've been working on, and of course ticketing as well for event ticketing. If you if you go to the Opera House, you can get a ticket for $37 to attend an event, or you can go to like Ticketmaster and pay $111.
Right.
And it's causing issues. I don't know if you guys go to events, but it's causing
not in a while.
issues. I mean, you think about it. If you went on there and you saw for $111, would you want to purchase it?
Right.
So
Yeah.
they're making money, but they're hurting the local venues.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm definitely
Yeah.
for regulating that. What else you got?
Good idea. Well, maybe we could just run down the kind of the policy objectives that as a caucus we have.
Sure.
Would that be of interest?
That'd
to
be
the
fine
folks?
with me.
All right. Yeah. So it really kind of falls under two major category headings that we've already talked about, which is affordability and public safety. And under affordability, I like to use the acronym HEATS, right, with two H's. So HHEETS to kind of help remember the categories of legislation that we're working on to really address the real problems that Vermonters are truly having. So we got HH, which is housing and healthcare.
Yeah.
EE, which is education and energy. And T is transportation. S is safety. So that's HEATS with two H's. Right? Healthcare, housing, energy, education, transportation, and safety. And we have, as a Republican caucus, drafted bills in all of these areas to address the real problems that Vermonters are currently having within affordability and safety. And we have real solutions for these real problems. I'm proud to be a part of that, frankly.
Yeah.
And the trick is going to be to get the majority party chairs in each of the committees to take those bills off the wall, actually discuss them and move them forward.
Yeah.
Several of those housing bills are either already in or going to come to our committee in environment because they're related to land use and permitting.
My bill.
Yeah, so we have, for example, a really good bill that originated out of the rural caucus called H730 is the number. You could put that one in the chat group. H730 is an Act 250 reform bill. Okay, so that's that rings all the bells. Right? You can talk about reforming Act 250.
We've got Greg Burt's bill that just came out yesterday. What bill number is that? That deals with the road rule and some of the other stuff that came out of Act 181.
Interestingly, that's kind of an overlap with 730. I think it was 730. I'd be guessing if I guessed at it, but it was in the 730 range. So H730 is the rural caucus's version of that, which does things like repeal the road rule and require notification if your land gets identified as Tier 3, so that you're immediately within Act 250 designation area. Things like that.
It's definitely stuff like that is going to definitely affect people's property values.
Yes.
And the use of their land. What would be allowable under Tier 3?
Right. Another one is H602, which is originated in the governor's office, that came through the Republicans to get it to the floor. It also addresses permitting efficiencies, extends some of the very nice exemptions for Act 1, Tier 1A and 1B. It provides some additional tax credit increases for development in various areas. And so that's a very comprehensive bill as well, H602. And then the last one I'll address that also is in our environment committee is specific to housing costs is H70. This one might be a little more controversial, but I think it's a great idea myself. We passed in the legislation Act 59. In fact, we just took testimony on Act 59 today, which sets up what's called the 30 by 30, 50 by 50 rule, where by 2030, we're supposed to have conserved 30% of Vermont's lands, and by 2050, we're supposed to have conserved 50% of Vermont's lands. And what they're looking for is permanent conservation in those. That 50% by 2050 is going to be a real challenge to make. What Bill H70 proposes to do is count what's called current use lands in the use value appraisal program toward that as being conserved. And if we did that, we would already be meeting the 50% goal, because there's a lot of people that already take advantage of current use.
Yeah.
And if we counted that toward meeting the 50% goal, we'd be there.
We're well past. We would be well past.
So you're talking about folks that own property that are in
Already in current
conservation.
use.
They're
Just
well in
count
But you
current
can
use, but to
change
have
or
it,
current,
You can.
current. But you
Current.
can change your current use.
You can
With
get
this
out of current use, but it costs you some money to get out of it.
yes,
Right.
yeah,
So
there is a penalty.
It's
There
not
is a penalty.
permanent per se, but it's pretty stuck. And there's a hefty price to get out of it.
So even this bill, you can still get out of it. It's not actually permanent.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. It doesn't change the current use program. H70 doesn't change the current use program at all. It just counts whatever is in current use toward it,
Okay.
toward the conservation goal of conserving 50% by 2050,
Okay.
rather than looking for yet new land to conserve.
Right. Yeah. No.
So the
Definitely don't
beauty
wanna
of
do
that
that.
is that if we already meet that target, that helps keep property values low, because if we have to keep conserving more and
Yeah.
more and to keep taking more land out of development, it just raises the price of what's left. And so that's a great way to keep land values lower,
Okay.
sales prices.
Yeah. No. That would be nice.
Yeah.
Lower sale prices. Anything else?
I don't know what else. I don't know how deep you want to go. I introduced a voter ID bill.
Oh, we can talk about some bills. Like,
Yeah.
so tell me what your most top bill that you want to see done.
Oh man.
No, maybe not. Tell me what you've
Well,
submitted this week.
The voter ID bill came out, I think, nationally it polls at 80-20. If you just deal with policy, if you talk to people about policy and voter ID, it's an 80-20 issue. If you interject personalities and politics in, then it changes the outcome
A
of the poll.
30-70.
Yeah. So, but when you think about it, when I lived in Maryland, buying a can of oil-based spray paint, you had to produce ID. Imagine that. You go to the supermarket or the liquor store, you have to produce ID. Do an internet search on your own and see how many developed countries use voter ID, require it. So why, if we're a first world country, if we're a developed country, are we not doing that? And how many of you, either of you, when you were campaigning, people told you, my vote doesn't count. And I'd
Yeah.
have to talk to people about it.
Yep.
Yeah,
I get
it
it.
does count. It really does. So I think a lot of people would feel a little bit better about going to the polls if they really truly believed that their vote counted. And I think this would go a long way to doing that. It really would.
I want to follow up, but before I follow up on that, I do want to let folks know we got Planet Hank on the line.
Oh, we do.
He's saying hello.
Okay. Hey, Planet Hank.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not all that. I don't really care too much about the voter ID stuff. And before anybody starts yelling at me, let me explain the reason why. So I live in Barrie. I've worked the polls before. We're a small community. Maybe in Burlington it would be a little more important, but For my view, I've worked the polls for like 14 years, and I've never seen any type of voter fraud. I'm a big for me, voter fraud and voter intimidation are terms that I don't think happen as much as people might think. Because on the Democratic side, it's voter intimidation, and on Republican side is voter fraud. That's me. But I mean, if the bill came up, I would vote for that, because I do think that, having a voter ID is great. I think you came by and asked me to sign on, and I probably told you no.
I don't know if I did or not, but
So Planet Hank
I
is
didn't
telling me,
know how.
bro, how many?
But yeah, there's a lot of things I think voter ID would make a lot of people feel better about. Like you said,
It would.
in small towns, I think it would make it easier for a lot of town clerks. These days, we don't know as many of our neighbors as we used to.
Valid.
So when someone comes to the polls, I know I had a conversation with somebody who said, they actually knew that somebody was not a resident because of small town knowledge. But that doesn't always account when you have some people. I know people who worked the polls in the past couple of elections who hadn't been poll workers for a while, and they're a little bit older, so they didn't know everybody in the town. So this is, to me, it's just an added safety net.
Yeah.
And elections are big deals, so I think safeties in the system are always a good thing.
Yeah.
Always a good thing.
I mean, I'm not opposed to it.
So,
Not opposed
and
to
I
it.
have also, not that I'm going to take all the air out of the room, but I also have an inspection repeal bill, annual inspection repeal
Oh,
bill.
that's a good one.
That is actually, it got a lot of attention. I know that I've talked to, there's probably at least 4 in the House side, and I know there's
Yep.
at least 1 in the Senate. So I know this is going to get time in transportation, probably February or March.
I think,
But once I know that the chair of the House Transportation told me once the Senate bill comes across, that's when they're really going to take a good hard look at all of them and
Yeah.
try to come up with something.
Yeah, there's a whole list related to that. I can
Yeah.
give you 3 bill numbers here if you're interested: S105, H358, and S103. So all related to reducing the inspection standards on cars, trucks, et cetera. And so there's a variety of things involved in those 3. But yeah,
I have a strange.
trying to just reduce the cost of vehicle inspection, and allow older vehicles to stay on the road a little bit longer, which reduces the low end price of vehicles.
Yeah.
I know when those inspection standards came into play, what was that, about 10 years ago or so, that took a whole layer of cars right off the market. The bottom end cars, and no longer could you buy a car for $2,000. You had to pay, $6,000-7,000 to get a car.
Right.
So I think the problem that we're going to have when it comes to inspections is that money. People are not going to be okay with the state not receiving that $8 that they get from the $80 check that you write to the inspection company, which $358.
When you say people, you mean legislators here are not going to be okay.
Well, I think AOT won't like that.
I think the Vermonters will.
Possibly. So you mentioned 358, which is my bill that I submitted.
Yeah.
And that particular bill is designed to keep the body of the inspections in place so that, you still have to go there annually. The difference is that you're signing off on your car's crappiness, right? So if you have a problem that would ordinarily not pass, it would pass the inspection, but you are notified that, hey, you might want to fix the rust on your side, right? And this way it puts it on you. And we're able to capture the data of cars, which Julie, I think it was Julie Moore. Were you guys you were carbon copied on the email that Matt sent out, talking about how they use that data for emission standards, I believe.
Okay.
Which, I mean, this is not the group to talk about emission standards. Let's just be
No.
very clear.
No.
Maybe sometime in the future there will be somebody that would be able to talk. Not that you guys can't talk about it.
Yep.
It's just that we're not on board with it.
Right.
But that being said, you know, those emission standards, you know, you would get the report saying, hey, or sorry, the AOT would get the report saying what the emission standards are, so that they can make their policies or whatever they do. And we would be able to capture data on, this is where I am interested in, EVs. And we could start charging EVs by mileage.
I think
that's
that's beginning. Doesn't that begin this year?
I don't think it's a law.
it's approved yet. That's one of the bills in.
Yeah.
I don't have that
Is that
number
what it
down,
is?
but that-
Okay, yeah.
I mean,
think
I'm
Walker has that bill in, right?
super anti-EV in general. I can't. Let me rephrase that. Anti-EV mandates.
Yeah, man.
That's where I'm.
Oh yeah. You want
I
to
mean,
buy
that's
one?
some
You want to
BS.
buy 10? I don't care. Don't force
Exactly.
me to buy
Go
one.
for it.
Well,
Do
yeah,
whatever you
right.
want.
Yeah, actually, we have two bills. I could give you the numbers on those too. That for either repealing or deferring the clean car and clean truck
Okay.
standards. That's H65 from Higley, and H503 is another new one that I think addresses the clean truck bill.
My computer wasn't
So
reacting to what I
H65
wanted.
and H503.
All right.
What those do is allow Vermonters to buy whatever the car they want, rather than being mandated to buy a particular type.
You said 503.
Yep, H65 and H503.
Yeah.
And if there's
the,
one more plug I could get in on a bill. I know
Absolutely.
we already talked about education and property tax reform, but Representative Galfetti from your area
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
has
There you go.
it just got a number today, H774. H774 is the property tax freeze bill.
Mhm.
Freezes property taxes for 3 years until we can finally get or Act 73 implemented and online with the foundation formula. So
Not
no more
seeing
increases.
any Democrats on that one.
I doubt it.
I'll drop the link on that as well.
Yeah, H774. Good one to push your representatives and senators to get behind.
All right. Well, we did hit 407, so we went over our projected 30 minutes that we wanted to do.
Sorry, I
Um,
talked too much.
You know, do want to let folks know we're planning on doing, well, I'm planning on doing this, trying to do it weekly so that folks can know what's going on in the legislature. And I think it's good to be informed. And I think it's great that you guys you've come on today. Not saying that I'm not going to commit you to the next couple, weeks, but you're more than welcome to come on and love to get some Democrats on as well.
Okay.
And we'll see what happens as it goes forward. And any final comments?
Thanks for having us on, Mike.
Hey,
Yeah,
thank
thanks for
you
having
for
us.
coming, and tell your constituents.
Wax on, wax off.
Have a nice weekend. Stay warm.
All right, you guys have a great day.